Hey, everybody. Welcome in the building. I'm glad to see y'all here. Now, do the diva a favor. If y'all here in the building for Saturday Night Trending Topics, do the diva a favor and hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button. Listen, tonight's title is Unbelievable Stories. Unbelievable Stories. And listen, Vivica Fox, she grown. Vivica in her 60s. And according to this filmmaker, Vivica Fox took a $25K advance from them. Her agent got $7.5K. So together they gave them about $32,000 to be the star in a film that was supposed to film in Nigeria. And so they signed on the dotted line. Say, yeah, Vivica will be the lead actress in this film. She'll go to Nigeria. Then I guess she felt that it wasn't enough money. I don't know what she felt. But then she said to them, listen, I'll move the film from Nigeria to America and I'll do it. They said, okay. They moved the location of the film for Vivica Fox. They raised $250,000 from investors to do this movie. Probably because they had Vivica Fox's name attached to the project. And they said Vivica never showed up. And her agent refused to return the advance money. Now, Vivica, you've been in the business too long to be playing these shenanigans. Where they do that at? I guess Vivica and her agent do that. But if what this filmmaker is saying is so, then Vivica needs to fix this and make it right. Because it's wrong. It's messed up. And we got to talk about it. Because that's what we do over here. We talk about trending topics. Then, I already told y'all, and some of us are going to have to agree to disagree, but football is a dangerous sport. It seems like sometimes the players are not the only ones suffering from CTE, but maybe the coaches are too. Just the other day, I gave you a story where the football player, he already tackled his opponent, and then he decided and thought it was a good idea to jump on him and belly flop on him, and the kid had two places in his spine was fractured. Fractured spine because the kid wanted to belly flop on him. So now this coach, he thought it was okay to be wrestling, hitting and punching the students. And he got arrested. He tried to tell some convoluted story as to what happened, but they was like, nah, because the last school you was at, you was accused of putting your hands on the students. We're going to talk about it. I'm telling you, I don't like football. And something needs to be done about it. Then we got this Laken Snelling, the cheerleader from Kentucky. She no longer goes to the school. She dropped out. who they found the baby in the closet. She first told the cops that the baby was born, stillborn. The baby wasn't born alive. But then later on, she told the cops the baby did whimper, the baby was alive. The girl got 75 stories and none of them add up. But I tell you what don't add up either is the fact that if this baby was born alive, like she said, why is she home on house arrest? And we got more to the story. Her roommates are the ones that called in to the cops and said they found the baby in the closet wrapped up. But in the middle of the night, they heard all this commotion. And when they asked in the morning, what was all the commotion about? She's like, oh, I was sick. So you got a roommate. You hear all this commotion. You don't get up, go to the room and say, hey, Laken, you okay in there? What's going on? Y'all wait till the morning to ask her what happened. She leaves. Then you go in the room snooping around and you just happen to find a dead baby. And then you talk about we thought she was hiding a pregnancy. Y'all got to miss me with the nonsense. But respectfully, I got to say this. When you don't look like Diva, you can get away with probably almost anything. The roommate said all of this. So she got up, showered, went to class, then got some McDonald's. I guess she decided to go back to her apartment, and the cops was there waiting for her. We're going to talk about it. And she's home right now on house arrest with her parents. And now they're also trying to say, I could show you so many clips on this. I have to decide which ones I'm going to show. There's one clip where the news people talking about, oh, she was still doing stunts while she was pregnant. I'm sure the baby was born, stillborn, because the baby couldn't take all this pressure, whatever the case may be. So now they're just making up stories and excuses as to why this baby was born stillborn, even though the girl said out her own mouth she heard the baby whimper. We're going to talk about it. It's a lot to talk about. But it's Saturday night. It's trending topics. I'm glad you're here. If you're here, do the Diva a favor. Hit the like button, okay? And y'all, what time it is? I need a what in the chat? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Saturday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title's called Unbelievable Stories. Vivica A. Fox in a lawsuit in her 60s. She know better. We got the coach touching the kids, beating down the kids. He's 6'7", 400 pounds, and he thought it was okay to fight some kids. And we got this Laken Snelling. I think she's going to get away with this. But that's justice for you, right? Let me bring the people on in the building. Hey, in my opinion. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Diva, choo-choo.
Hey, Katrina. Hey, Callie.
Hey, Diva. Hey, Panda. Hey, Chad.
So listen, I like to do the stories that have the videos attached first, just because the videos kind of drag my screen down. So we're gonna go in first. We might as well start with this coach who thought it was okay to put his hands on the kids. Let me share screen. Here we go.
Now at noon, an assistant football coach is behind bars facing charges after he allegedly struck students, and he appears to have a problematic past. 7's Faith Graham is live outside of the Broward jail in Fort Lauderdale with the story. Faith.
Yes, Jameer Clark appeared before a Broward County judge this morning. He is accused of punching multiple students in Pompano Beach. And we just obtained new video that reveals this was not his first time getting into a fight with students. A disturbing video now posted on social media showing a Broward County Schools employee punching a child to the ground at Monarch High School in Coconut Creek. The employee in the video, 29-year-old campus monitor Jameer Clark. The same man taken into custody earlier this week for carrying out a similar altercation at Blanche Ely High School in Pompano Beach, where he also works as the assistant football coach.
Like, no one should be, someone else's kids. It's just shocking.
According to police, Clark got into an argument with multiple players in the school's weightlifting room during practice Monday after one of the students made a negative social media post about him. According to the arrest report, it says Clark struck the victim in the face with a closed fist. A second teen, Clark struck him in the chest. Another attempted to restrain Clark by wrapping his arms around him. In response, Clark struck the victim in the face. And amid the tussle, victim number 4 was also struck in the stomach by Clark. One football player reacting to the arrest.
He was nice sometimes, and then, he'll yell at other people. It was a dumb situation. It shouldn't have happened.
Clark was taken into custody later that evening, charged with 4 counts of child abuse without great bodily harm.
He advised me just recently.
Wednesday morning, a judge setting his bond at $30,000.
Earlier this year, there were allegations that Mr. Clark was physically violent with a different student at Monarch High School while he was working there. It is a concern now that we have a separate incident, an allegation of an incident where he displayed violence towards another student, Your Honor.
Broward County Schools are releasing this statement that reads, "The employee in question is being reassigned as we review the matter for further action, up to and including termination. We are deeply disturbed by this incident." Now, Clark has been ordered to stay away from all of the victims as well as all Broward County Schools properties. We have reached out to the district about that video from Monarch High School. We're still waiting to hear back. Live in Fort Lauderdale, Faith Graham, 7 News.
So let me share screen again. Hold on one second. Let's see if my computer won't act up. Okay, there we go. So, coach charged. A high school football coach weighing 400 pounds arrested after being accused of punching 3 students, but we learned from the news clipping that it was actually 4. The coach got into a fight with a student at a previous school. So a high school football coach is accused of hitting 3 students in a fight at practice. Blanche L. High School assistant coach Jameer Clark was arrested on Monday. That's him. That's a little picture of the scene there. According to a Broward County Sheriff's Office report obtained by Local 10, Clark got into a physical altercation with students during practice. Clark allegedly confronted one of the students for a negative post about someone he knew. When the player admitted to the post, the coach allegedly called the student a bitch and then hit him. Clark stands 6'7" tall and weighs 400 pounds. After hitting the player, other students retaliated and went after Clark. He just got surrounded by everybody. He just started throwing punches at everybody, a student told Local 10. One of the players who tried to break up the altercation was struck by Clark as well. Broward Sheriff's deputies were called to the school, but couldn't get into the weightlifting room where the altercation happened due to the doors being locked. Once they were able to get into the room, police found Clark sitting on the floor with his legs crossed and the lights off. He was immediately taken into custody. Police also noticed that a mirror in the weightlifting room was broken from the altercation. Broward County Public Schools sent a letter out to the parents after the incident stating that Clark is no longer a coach at the school. We are deeply disturbed by the incidents as the safety and well-being of our students is our number one priority, the district wrote. Clark was charged with 4 counts of child abuse without great bodily harm after the fight. He was booked into Broward County's main jail on a $30,000 bond. Clark has since been released under house arrest. The coach initially argued he was acting in self-defense, but prosecutors argue his size and failure to de-escalate made him a risk to students, according to Local 10. It was also made known that Clark was previously accused of attacking a student while working at Monarch High School in Coconut Creek. Broward County Public Schools stated they were unaware of that incident until after his arrest. Clark has been employed with BCPS since December 2024, is being reassigned while these incidents are reviewed for further action, up to and including termination, the district wrote. At all times, the safety and well-being of our students is our number one priority. I don't think he needs to work with kids anymore, but that is my opinion. Wayne, your thoughts? Wayne, are you there? All right, I'll move on from Wayne. I can't hear Wayne. Can anybody else hear Wayne?
No, can't hear Wayne.
Okay, Katrina, your thoughts?
I'm just trying to figure out how many chances they gonna give this coach.
That
And I
part.
thought they do background checks anyway when they go from school to school. So y'all didn't do a background check to know that he wasn't that he got fired from that position. Y'all didn't do no background check, didn't do nothing. And then he up there abusing these kids, and they said they got him on administrative leave or whatsoever. So he's still getting paid until he find out he's fired. Why is he still getting paid when he abused these kids? This is a whole different thing. But we'll see how it goes. And he don't need to be in no school system at all because he don't know how to act towards children. And you ain't hit the right child. You ain't hit the right child because, baby, another parent that I know was been at that school and probably gave him the windmill. So let him go and do what he got to do. And they should not hire him back at that school. He shouldn't be on no administrative leave, especially knowing that his background from the other school. So we'll see how it goes. But that's all I got, Diva.
Thank you, Katrina. In my opinion, your thoughts?
First of all, I don't understand how he hit one kid at one school and then they reassign him to another school. I don't understand how he didn't get charges then. I really don't. Because first of all, you're not supposed to be putting your hands on him. You're supposed to be coaching them. And then not him hitting 4 kids.
Mm.
And it's a video. And you talking about reassigning him to another school until you figure out if you're going to fire him or not. Where they do that at?
Child out there in the
Let me tell you something. If I told you that Florida definitely needs to look into their school system, they do. They have the weirdest cases. I don't understand if they don't talk to each other if you go from school to school, because they are the only state that I've ever heard of that you could commit a crime and go to another school and then commit the same crime over again and then still be able to go to another school.
Thank you. In my opinion, Callie, your thoughts?
Yeah, they got some kind of weird laws happening that are protecting this man. I don't know if it's the union. I don't know what it is, but something needs to be looked into. And I do feel like you still have these weird people out here that feel like these people at these schools should be able to put their hands on other people's kids. You still have people that believe that stuff. Like you can just trust these people. This man is nothing but a big old overgrown 400-pound bully. Either he was a bully when he was in school or he was bullied and now he's taking it out on those kids. No, he don't need to be working with no kids. He should not have a teaching license or anything like that where he is able to work with kids. So this is gone too far. And I have a feeling that he is being protected by the union And that's why he's being moved from school to school, because this is what happens with police officers.
Thank you, Callie. Wayne, your thoughts?
Sorry about that. I was going to say, they so deeply disturbed, they reassigned him to another school, or they reassigned him. How much sense does that make? I mean, this is not the first time. It wasn't the second, like the third, and they reassigned him. I agree with Callie. He's just a big bully. He wouldn't step to a real man. He do that with kids because he get away with it. He got an anger problem. He don't like for people to say no. And he don't want people to talk back. And he sounds the type, he's always right. And if you challenge him, then you get into some altercation like this. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stay connected to this story to see if he gets any time at this school. Well, everybody just stay muted unless you're talking. If this school it actually terminates him, and I don't care what happened, he needs to be terminated because he has a history of putting his hands on the people. Okay, because they said in the previous school he put his hands on the kid or was accused of putting his hands on the kid. So let's go ahead and roll into this Laken Snelling story with this baby, which I just find it unbelievable that she is being allowed to be on home on house arrest. So let me share the article first. Okay. See if it comes through. All right, as I'm waiting for it to come through, here we go. University of Kentucky cheerleader Laken Snelling heard baby whimper before hiding newborn in a closet, the docs say. Let me just pause this. So the University of, hold on, let me just X something out in the background here so my screen won't play around with me. The University of Kentucky cheerleader accused of hiding her dead baby inside a closet told doctors the infant was born alive and she heard it whimper before ultimately stuffing it in a trash bag, according to court documents. The new details mark an about face for Laken Snelling, 21, who initially told cops she believes she gave birth to a dead baby. Snelling allegedly made the stunning admission one day after she delivered the infant, following her arrest and interrogation by police for allegedly concealing evidence of the crime. The baby has shown a little bit of fetal movement and made a whimper, she allegedly told staff at the University of Kentucky Labor and Delivery Unit, adding she guessed he was alive at birth, according to court records obtained by the student-run University of Kentucky outlet, the Kentucky Kernel. The infant appeared to have been born full term when the baby was found. Snelling, a member of the university stunt team, allegedly took several photos while she was in labor, but deleted them in an attempt to hide the birth, cops said. That's her still on her cheerleading team, and you could tell she looked pregnant there. The college student was arrested just hours after she gave birth to the child in her off-campus house. Police were called by her roommate. They act like it was just some random person before. By her roommate, who after hearing suspicious noises in the middle of the night, snooped into Snelling's room after she had left for class and discovered the newborn. I believe they heard crying. I believe they heard screaming. I believe they knew what was going on. And I believe they didn't like her. And that's why they waited till she left to go search the room. Snelling told cops she had given birth around 4 a.m. on August 27th and that the baby fell on the floor, but she didn't think he was breathing or alive, according to the affidavit. The student did claim she passed out, falling on top of the baby. When she woke up, Snelling said she saw the baby turning blue and purple. Believing the boy was dead, she wrapped the baby up like a burrito and laid next to it because it gave her a little comfort in the moment, the affidavit said. Snelling allegedly wrapped her son in a towel and then stuffed him in a trash bag, which she then hid in the closet before showering and cleaning up the blood in her room, authorities said. When her roommates questioned her about the noises they heard overnight, Snelling allegedly claimed to be sick and said she was going to the doctor, according to authorities. The roommates did not know she was pregnant, though one told cops they were suspicious that their friend had been hiding a pregnancy. She told cops she left for class, but instead sat in her car and ordered McDonald's before returning home to find police waiting for her. Snelling has pleaded not guilty to charges of abuse of a course, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. She has withdrawn from the Lexington area school and is no longer a member of the stunt team, which, that's just saying the same thing as her being on the cheerleading team. So hold on one second. I'm going to play just some of this. I'm not going to play all of it. Hold on one second. Let's share screen. And let me play some of this.
A college cheerleader appears in court after police said they found her newborn baby boy dead in a closet. I'll unpack the very latest on Laken Snelling's case, what happened in court, and what we know about that baby boy's death. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Laken Snelling was in court this morning as she faces charges related to the birth and death of her baby boy. Snelling was a member of the stunt team at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. That basically means she was a cheerleader, but she has withdrawn from the school now that she's facing charges. She's currently out on bail and living with her parents in Tennessee after being charged criminally in connection to the death of her newborn baby boy. This case is not unlike others I've seen over the years. Sadly, back on August 27th, Lexington police received a 911 call from a home, and when they arrived, they found a baby boy wrapped in a towel in a black trash bag in a closet. Can you imagine? Police records say that the baby was cold to the touch, so there was no point in performing CPR. His life could not be saved. The baby had died. But how that baby died at this point remains a question without an answer. Police tracked down Laken Snelling, the baby's mother, and they say she admitted to giving birth to the baby and then trying to clean it all up. An incident report claims that Laken asked to be checked out at the police department, so she was taken to the hospital. Laken Snelling was charged with abuse of a corpse, concealing the birth of an infant, and tampering with physical evidence. An autopsy was performed on the baby boy, and it didn't reveal a cause of death. At this point, the cause and manner of death are listed as inconclusive, so it could be 8 to 10 weeks before those toxicology results come back. As far as manner of death goes, there are 5: undetermined, homicide, accidental, natural, and the one where a person dies by their own hands. Laken was very, very active on social media, as many young people are. She shared her life on TikTok. We found a video online of Laken performing cheerleading stunts with her squad. In it, she has a slight bump, but I don't know if you would be able to tell that she was pregnant unless you knew her, or maybe you think she might have put on some weight. So this morning, Laken Snelling was back in Lexington, Kentucky for a preliminary hearing. That's where prosecutors have to put on enough evidence to meet that low standard of probable cause. And after that, the case goes to a grand jury. This also gives the defense a chance to question witnesses and figure out a little bit more about the case.
Good morning, ma'am. You are Laken Snelling? Yes. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I work very way this grand jury, the county attorney's office is I'll just step away now.
Okay. Ms. Snelling, you just heard your attorney state that it's your desire to waive this matter to the Fayette County grand jury. You understood you got a right to have a preliminary hearing this morning, but it is your desire to waive this matter at this time. Okay.
So Laken Snelling waived her preliminary hearing, meaning she was giving up the right to the hearing so the Commonwealth didn't call any witnesses and her attorney did not get to question them.
Ms. Snelling, you just heard your attorney state that it's your desire to waive this matter to the Fayette County grand jury. You understood you got a right to have a preliminary hearing this morning, but it is your desire to waive this matter at this time. Okay. I know that you have posted in electronic monitoring, residing with parents, all of that's still in place, correct? Okay, all right. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Laken Snelling scurried out of court, appearing to avoid any eye contact with the TV cameras. So to discuss the very latest in Laken Snelling's case, I want to bring in Mark Weaver. He works as a prosecutor in the state of Ohio and also just a lawyer in general. So Mark, Laken Snelling walks into court with her lawyer today, avoiding the cameras. That's my opinion, hair kind of like this and not kind of standing by her lawyer and being shielded. So she's not on TV a lot. And she waives her preliminary hearing at the advice of her attorney. So explain to me why one would do that, because a lot of times these defense attorneys love a preliminary hearing because then they can really grill the detective or whoever takes the stand and get some info.
Sure. In most states, a preliminary hearing is a step that ensures there's enough evidence before the case goes on to trial. It's a way of getting a case dismissed if there's not enough evidence early on without having to bother with a trial. And law enforcement doesn't love doing it because it allows the defense lawyer, as you mentioned, to put the officers on the stand, ask a bunch of questions. It's almost like defense lawyers can kick the tires or test the case of the Commonwealth in this case. And so it's rare that you see a defense lawyer waive that. And the best theory is probably that this has been a big story in at least 2 states and, of course, nationally on networks like yours. And this lawyer is probably trying to shield this young woman from this very difficult and challenging set of facts, which is either she gave birth and didn't report the birth, which is a Class A misdemeanor in Kentucky, or she abused a corpse, which is a felony, or concealed or tampered with evidence, another felony. What we don't know is whether or not she actually killed the baby, and that's going to require some more testing.
That will require some more testing. And, I think you're right. I think that the defense attorney knows enough already, just based on the police reports and what's in the media, that he may know what happened. His client may have told him, attorney-client privilege, what happened. Right now, they're saying, it's inconclusive, the baby's cause and manner of death. So they're waiting on toxicology, of course, and what other testing they might be doing. This is wild to me, though, these young women, because this is now the 2nd or 3rd case ever that I've covered, maybe even 4th, actually, that I've covered, where young women give birth on their own, no hospital, no anesthesia. Oh my God, what is going on? And then you have to cut the cord and then, deliver the placenta, the whole 9 yards. And then instead of calling for help, you are putting the baby in a towel and in trash and then hiding it, concealing it. So that's the allegation here. What in the heck is going on? Because the most famous of these cases that I covered was in Warren County, Ohio, Skylar Richardson, years and years ago. She was acquitted at trial of aggravated murder charges, so she's free. But I just can't even imagine doing such a thing. Like that, this takes some major endurance, some major pain endurance, pain tolerance, and some major compartmentalization. As a prosecutor, what are your thoughts?
No, I think you're right. First of all, the Skylar Richardson case, I remember that case well. Very high profile. I represented the judge in that case when there was a lawsuit over his gag order. And in fact, I argued that case to the Ohio Supreme Court. It's been some years now. But I have seen cases like this, as you have, and they're very troubling. We know what's happening here. Young women who didn't intend to be pregnant and don't want certain people, whether it's their parents or the father or their friends, to know they're pregnant. Mm-hmm. Now, you have to be a certain size woman to be able to conceal a pregnancy, right? Somebody who's normally weighs 110 pounds, and 5'6" is not going to conceal a pregnancy. So I don't know enough about this woman to know how she did it, but whether it's clothing or other ways, there's a desire to conceal the pregnancy, which is fine. But when it results in concealing the birth, and in this case, the death, of your baby, people need to know. And Kentucky law is such that you have to report it. And I understand the mindset of young people. We were all young once, and there is a childish impulse when you've done something wrong or shameful to want to hide it from your parents. I don't know that's what happened here. But we were talking about the preliminary hearing. Here's something interesting. You were wondering aloud what the evidence was. In most cases, the defense lawyer goes into a preliminary hearing hoping to find out what the Commonwealth, in this case, the prosecutors, know about the case.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the defense lawyer likely knows much more about the case than investigators do, because the person who knows the most is his client, Laken Snelling. She knows the most. So if she's been honest with her lawyer, this lawyer knows the most. There probably weren't witnesses. We'd be surprised if there were witnesses to this. The toxicology nobody has yet. So ironically, at the preliminary hearing, the person with the most knowledge would have been the defense lawyer.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think you're right about that. I mean, he may have signed the retainer agreement and met with his client, and she may have been like, this is what happened. I mean, a lot of defense attorneys have told me they don't ask their clients what happened. You know, some do. She's a young girl. She's 21. You know, she's a young woman. She's not a girl, but, you know, to me, she is a girl. She's a kid. She's in college, right? You know, so I'm just thinking to myself, I just can't even imagine what in the heck was going on. And what's confounding to me is that they said in the police reports that the baby was cold to the touch. So the birth had to have happened relatively soon before the baby was found. But now they're calling this the cause and manner of death inconclusive. They need to wait for toxicology. Does that mean that there were no obvious signs of trauma? And when they do the autopsy, obviously, that they found nothing that told them what happened? Or are they having to wait for other additional testing to see whether maybe the baby died of asphyxiation or something like that?
Well, the coroner knows this is a high-profile case. The coroner put out a press release in this case mentioning that more microscopic testing is going to have to be done. One would think that if there had been obvious signs of trauma, that would have been reported, because you would know that immediately. If you're a medical examiner, within the first few minutes of examining the body, you would know whether there was any external trauma. The harder part, as we all know, being familiar with the birth process, is if the child died because of asphyxia, did that happen while the birth was happening, perhaps with a cord wrapped around its neck? We've all heard about that. Or after I think it's a boy. This little boy was born, and that's why you need more serious testing. Was the baby breathing before it wasn't breathing, and different parts of the body should show that to the medical examiner. But even if none of that happens, what's interesting is this tampering charge, which I presume is putting the baby in a trash bag where it couldn't be found. That's probably the tampering charge. The abuse of a corpse is simply not taking care of a corpse in the respectful way that we all expect corpses to be treated, and then failure to report a pregnancy. There are enough charges for which the evidence is obvious already to put this woman in prison for at least a few years. The maximum, I think, would be 11 years. I'd be shocked if she got a term like that on these facts. Now, if the baby was born alive and crying and she kills the baby, it's a whole different sentence. But on these charges, if this prosecutor wants to hold this young woman accountable, there's enough there to send her for anywhere up to 11 years. If I were the judge, I wouldn't do 11 years. I think probably 3 or 4 is probably appropriate. But that's what we have so far, just on the facts known to date.
Wow. I just think to myself, if the baby died during childbirth and it was the result of the cord being wrapped around the neck of the child, the baby, the infant, I would think that would look different on autopsy than had the baby been asphyxiated after birth. I could be wrong about that, because maybe then the baby would still have the fluid and everything in his nose and mouth and everything. You know what happens when babies are born. You have to clean all that stuff out. But I'm just like thinking to myself, maybe it is because of the high profile nature of the case. The coroner doesn't want to get it wrong, because if you recall, there was a big mix up, a big bad thing that happened in the Skylar Richardson case where it just jumbled up the whole thing. I don't want to get too far into the weeds in that, but the forensic anthropologist told the cops one thing and then came back and said, oh yeah, not so much. And it was just a whole mess with that case. So I'm just trying to think to myself, what on earth they could find in this further testing, the microscopic testing, the toxicology that is going to reveal the cause of death. So obviously I'm not a toxicologist or a forensic pathologist, but I just can't get over the number of cases we see, Mark, where young women are giving birth. I just covered one earlier this week from Georgia. Thank God the baby was found alive in the dumpster there. And now that baby is in the custody and care of, the children's services. But the number of young women who are doing this,
yeah.
I feel like it's probably a lot higher than we realize. And that scares me.
It does. And let's take this opportunity because Long Crime has many young women viewers and listeners. And everyone needs to know that most states, including Kentucky, has a law that says that if you have a baby and you don't want this baby, if you bring the baby to a safe place, like a fire station that has firefighters and EMTs inside,
or
like
a police station or
police
a
station.
hospital.
If you just take those steps, you will not be charged with anything. The baby will be taken care of immediately. And here's what's important. There are thousands of couples right now who would love to have an infant and will take care of that infant and will take care of your baby and make sure your baby has a great life. And you, the person who didn't want to be pregnant, the woman who didn't want to be pregnant, you can move on with your life. And so it's important that people know you're not in trouble. If you have a baby, you can leave the baby. That baby's going to have a fine life. You're going to have a fine life. No legal charges. When I talk to young people and this topic comes up, I always tell them to let their friends know you have a way out here.
Definitely. And along with those safe havens, and you're right, the hospital, police station, there are all these different places, firehouses, where you can take the baby and leave the baby and you will not get in trouble. A lot of states have those baby boxes too.
Yes.
I've done stories on those, and you can actually just leave the baby in the baby box.
And nobody ever sees you, and nobody comes running after you. Nobody wants to know
at
your
like
name.
the firehouses and police departments.
Yeah,
So.
it's. I wish the law had been put into place many more years. It's a fairly recent thing, last 15 years or so. Lives could have been saved. But I want to be empathetic to a young woman who thinks she has no other option. And that's why I'm speaking to. And for the people who are listening, tell the young women who you know, there's always an option. Nobody needs to die. We understand this is a shameful thing perhaps for you. You feel some shame, but don't hide this. The key factor I, as a prosecutor, would want to know in this case is, did this infant breathe? If this infant breathed air, then it's a much different case than if the infant only got its oxygen through the mother's umbilical cord and never breathed air on his own, because that makes a much different charge.
And to me, though, they should know that at autopsy. I would think they'd be able to tell that at autopsy. No,
I don't know enough about it. I'm not a good scientist. I've had a lot of biology. I've had no chemistry in my life. And so when I have cases with experts, I always count on the experts to teach me the science so I can teach the jury the science.
Okay, good practice. That's a good practice. So we'll wait. We will wait. But now the case goes to the grand jury. And I'm assuming they are going to wait potentially for the final autopsy result to present the case to the grand jury, because you're certainly not going to go to the grand jury unless you have the goods, or at least I would hope you would not go to the grand jury and pursue charges that you knew you couldn't prove at trial. That would be unethical.
Yeah, the prosecutors have an obligation under the rules of professional conduct to not bring a charge for which they don't have probable cause to believe that the charge is true. And
that's funny. The prosecutor, he said, has an ethical responsibility to not bring charges that they can't prove. Now, they need to stop, because we just seen a whole case with Diddy where they brought charges that they couldn't prove. And this young lady, respectfully, she's home with an ankle monitor with her parents, and there's a baby that's not alive. And he hired prostitutes, and he can't come home to save his life. They need to stop. The justice system is twisted.
There is no rush. The young woman is out on bond. She's not. I don't think she's going to skip the country, perhaps, but that's unlikely. That doesn't usually happen. Her whole support system is there, and we don't have a statute of limitations problem. We have these other pending charges, and so they're going to be on time. That the defense lawyer may or may not waive the speedy trial, so you have to keep an eye on your speedy trial clock. But there's certainly no reason to take any other steps until we hear back from the medical examiner.
Sure, of course. And one final thought here, Mark. You're a parent, you're a dad, I'm a mom. Parents have to, let their kids know that they can come to them with anything, because part of me thinks that sometimes these young women do these things because they feel like, if I go tell mom and dad, A, I'm going to be in trouble, B, they're going to make me keep the baby, or C, they're going to do, it's like the fear of the unknown or whatever. And I think that parents need to make it clear to their kids that, yes, you can come to me no matter what.
Yes, I agree. And one of the things I did with my children, who are now adults, is I let them know on many occasions, often in a funny way, that I made all kinds of mistakes growing up, like countless mistakes. And when children think their parents are perfect, they're afraid to take their imperfect mistakes to the parents because they won't measure up. So I tried as often as possible to let my kids know, if you only knew how dumb your dad was and how many mistakes I made and the things I put my poor mother through, #mypoormother. I made a constant reminder that we don't expect them to be perfect. We just want them to be honest with us, and we love them. We want to help them. And I'm no parenting expert, but that's what worked for me.
Yeah, no doubt. Mark Weaver, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Laken Snelling, she's free on a $100,000 bond and living with her parents in Tennessee. That next step, her case goes to the grand jury, but that likely won't happen until the final autopsy results are ready, and that could take some time. And that's it for this episode of Crime.
Callie, your thoughts?
A lot of this stuff that they're saying would work if this were a 15-year-old. This is a grown woman. I think she's a sociopath. Just because of some of the other things that we have heard about her personality and her behavior aside from this.
Right, true.
Also, she was living away from her parents. So, as he already mentioned, you could have arranged an adoption. You could have left this baby at a fire station if you couldn't find someone to help you to arrange an adoption. And your parents never even had to know that you had a baby. So this rationale that they're trying to make, that she was so afraid of her parents, the same way that the baby did not have to be unalived for her parents not to know about it. And then also, I don't even understand why she went through with the whole pregnancy, but I don't know what her beliefs are or what have you. But if you're going to go through with the pregnancy, you need to be getting prenatal care and taking care of yourself and making sure that nothing happens to this baby, and making sure that you have a plan when you go into labor, whether if it's a midwife, going to the hospital, whatever. Just because you don't want to keep this baby or you're unsure does not mean you get to put this baby in danger and then the baby passes away because of something you've done. Or in the case of like someone like Krishan Rock, the baby has a lot of problems because you, throughout your whole pregnancy, you didn't know if you wanted to be pregnant or not. It doesn't work that way. I'm pro-choice, but I understand everybody's not. But I also understand that she could literally go and ask ChatGPT or Google or Alexa or whoever, what could.
You're breaking up some. You're breaking up, Callie. So we're not hearing like the words that you're saying. Maybe go out and come back in because you're breaking up for me. Callie, your thought? I mean, I'm saying Callie.
So a world where.
Yeah, Callie's breaking up. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, Diva. He got on there and said a whole lot of nothing. Because if this was somebody else in another color, they'd be one of them in jail or prison. This girl, she's young, she made a mistake. You're not 15, you're not 14, you're not even 11, you're 21. And to tell me that that was a mistake for you to have this child and put it in a trash bag and act like everything was normal, that's crazy. When we know that these people, this black girl, didn't even know that she was having her baby, and they ran her through the ringer. And then this fool sat up and said that the baby whimpered. So if you sit up and telling us that the baby whimpered, that means that the baby was born alive, and you unalived it by putting it in a trash bag and suffocated it. Because you're telling the people the baby whimper, the only reason a baby gonna whimper if it's alive. I never seen an unalive child whimper. So, and then like you said, Diva, she's at home with her family. In that case, you should have went on with the pregnancy because you're still at home with your family. So that ain't making no sense either. This is a thing that she wanted this to be done. She didn't want nobody to know, and she wanted to go on with her life. But you fool, you put the baby in a trash bag in your closet. Like people are not going to smell it or see it or whatsoever. And then I don't understand, like you having a baby in a dorm room, like everything that comes along with it. Well, we ain't got to say what comes along with it, you already know. But I'm just saying, all that stuff has to be pushed out. And you had to cut the umbilical cord. She just, this is, oh, this is just so satanic on all levels. But the thing of it is, I'm just looking at them giving her an easy break. Well, she is okay. She's gonna make a mistake. She only do 3 to 4 years. You know, it's supposed to be 10, but I think the judge gonna give her 3 to 4 years. Now, okay, you got another person that got accused of as we already know, and they want to give them life. So you make that make sense. You took a life, but they don't want to give you life. Because if it's anybody else, you will be locked completely up, not at home on an ankle bracelet. But that's all I got to do.
Rita?
Hello.
And
I've been in the background yelling. Oh my gosh. Because it's just, I'm just sitting here like, everybody's like, oh, you can say something. Oh, why is everybody skirting around that Roe v. Wade was overturned? Why are we skirting around that? Oh, you can have the baby and give the baby away. Why is everybody skirting around that? Take your butt and get birth control. Why is everybody skirting around that when your mom goes to get her annual, your little girl should be in there with you as the doctor's talking to you. The doctor should be talking to your little girl. I mean, that's what I did to mine. My daughter's scared straight. She was like, I don't want nobody touching my hoo-ha. And he was like, nobody's going to be touching you unless, you know, you have sex. She was like, well, okay. So why are we not having the conversation, the sex ed conversation? This is nothing new. It just seems like condoms are a bad word. It just seems like birth control is a bad word. And it seems like they are trying to get this chick off by any means necessary. Period, point blank. And then, all these cases keep popping up with these women one way or another. Since Roe v. Wade has been overturned, they are going to get rid of these babies one way or another. I said that as soon as they said it was overturned. And they're doing that. I don't know if you remember Black girl, I want to say last year. She was 19 to 21 weeks. And they said your pregnancy is not viable. And because of the rules that change, you have to go home and you have to pass it on your own. And she did. And I think she put it in a bucket or something. And she went to jail because they said she unalived her baby. And they said she didn't unalive it. The hospital said it was already no heartbeat.
that.
Yeah. There was no heartbeat. She just had to pass it on her own. And she did. And she went to jail. But mysteriously, the coroner can't detect her baby. But this baby was already no heartbeat. But that young lady is in jail. But this one is still doing TikToks. I was just throwing that out there, different color, but it is just extremely frustrating. And they're like, oh, you can go to this and you can do this and you can give the baby to this. They don't want to have the baby. They don't. I'm pro-choice too. They don't want to. And you guys took that right away. And now you're seeing an uproar and an increase in all of this stuff. And no one wants to talk about Roe v. Wade being overturned. Everybody wants to dance around it and talk around it. Nobody wants to take their kid, their daughter, or their son, go to Costco and get some condoms. Take your baby to the OBGYN. Like, are we kidding? I remember, I'm Gen X. I remember in high school, I didn't know you can get birth control without your parents. I heard that in high school. That was in the 90s. And when I worked in the hospital, I'm like, oh, you can. But if you get an STD, your parent is in the clinic with you. That was the weirdest combination ever. You can get birth control without your parents. But if you had an STD, your parents had to be there. So it's just nowadays, it just seems like Gen Z, they're just like, hey, it is what it is, player. I don't know. But yeah, I think they're going to get her off because mysteriously they can't find what happened to that baby boy. So
even though she said the baby whimpered,
exactly,
she passed out and fell on the baby. How you know? So when you woke up, you was on the baby,
right?
And the baby was black and turning purple and blue. Like,
and that's why she didn't want those. That's why she didn't want those roommates. That's why she took that deal, because those roommates heard what they heard. So she was like, no, I don't want anybody to be called. No, I just want, yeah.
But the roommates to me are full of it too.
Yeah.
You hear all of this noise. Listen, even with my son, I hear some noise. I'm waking up like, what's going on? You okay? And I get up and go look in his room. So you hear all of this noise, all of this commotion. You wait till you see her in the morning, and then y'all go in her room after she leaves. Even if let's just roll with their lies, right? Because it's lies, if you ask me. Even if they were rolling with their lies, I think they knew she had that baby, and they went in the room to find out what happened with the baby, because she came out. You asked her. She claimed she was sick. Why would you go look in the room?
Right.
What are you looking for?
And exactly. Then you looking
in the closet. You was looking for the baby. You was looking for the baby.
They heard the whimper.
They heard the whimper. They probably heard the baby crying. They probably heard that baby crying. Because it would be no reason for you to go in the room and start looking under beds, under this, under that, if you just thought she was just simply sick. They're full of crap, in my opinion. And they're covering for everybody. They're lucky. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Diva, I think somebody helped her deliver this baby. We haven't heard anything about no blood anywhere, no sheets, no nothing. And do you remember the story we did with the girl that went into the hospital bathroom and decided to discard her? They said it was blood everywhere. Blood on the wall, on the ceiling. Miraculously, this girl room is clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was able to do this. Cut the biblical cord. She was able to get rid of everything and clean the room.
After she passed
out. No signs.
After she passed out.
Yeah, after she done passed out and fell over. Here's the thing, okay? It seemed like somebody sat down with this girl because she came from these so-called rich people. So somebody sat down with her and told her the story to tell everybody else. But luckily, we got the story before she told her story. So now we putting 2 and 2 together, and 2 and 2 don't make sense. Okay, it's somebody else involved. Okay, we know she broke up with her boyfriend because that came out before all this came up. So that's probably why she got rid of the baby. She done broke up with her boyfriend. All her friends done left her because she had this little attitude. The funky attitude probably came from her in pain, not wanting to tell nobody she was, Yeah, it's all making sense now. And you got rid of the baby because you didn't want this to ruin your life. You know what? I really feel like she was the right complexion for for this mess. We try to say the justice system is just, but it's not always just. If you got the right kind of dollar amount, you can make anything go away. They trying to keep this story hush. You ain't hearing very many details about this case. It's a reason why it ain't being put out there like that.
Well, we're hearing more details now in the sense that the roommates, they didn't tell us this first, the roommates called. They act like it was some random check of the apartment and somebody called. Now we know the roommates called. Now we know the roommates heard some noise. Now we know that she delivered at 4 a.m. So she says passed out, fell on the baby. Then it woke up, the baby was purple. Then she laid next to the baby because she felt comfort in that. Nowhere did she think, call 911, save my baby.
And instead of calling 911 after she found out the baby was unalive, she decided to put it in a garbage bag.
That part, wrap it up like a burrito. Julius, your thoughts?
She unalived her own child. But you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. But I am gonna say this, and we all see it. It's certain privilege at play. You know what? No, I'm gonna say it. White privilege is at play here. Sorry, but we got to call it what it is. This is the example of it. Now, if it was any one of us on this panel who did what she did, now correct me if I'm wrong, but where would we be? I'll wait. Exactly. We will be clinked up. But her, she gets a pass. And I knew something was amiss when this first happened. And of course, she's doing the crying games. Oh, help me, I'm in distress. Girl, bye. And so they're going to get her off. And so then she can continue on living her life. But you know this. Karma always has a way of creeping up on you. And I hope she gets her karma. That's it. Toot you.
48, your thoughts?
Hey Diva panel chat. I'm like agreeing with everybody so far. It's just hard for me to believe that this lady didn't know that she had other options. It is unexcusable to me for you to be this grown and then put another human being, deliver a human being, whether they were unalive when you gave birth to them or not. You put them in a bag and just toss them like trash. That's like, I think that's what bothers me. Did the baby pass? The baby's passed, right? Well, rest in peace to that baby. And it just makes me sick because, like Julia said, everybody said, if Rapunzel was one of us, with kinky hair or a little more brown melanin, we would be under the jail. I really, really hope that the judge does the right thing and makes an example out of her. I know that like Miss Rita said about the pro-choice and stuff like that, and even with choice being on the table, to go through with it all the way and then still decide to unalive the baby is just monstrous to me. Like, she needs to get the full extent of the law so other Rapunzels, before they let down their hair, they'll see that, you know what, I can end up like her. I can end up 10 years or more in prison. That's it.
Savannah, your thoughts?
Oh, I'm loving this train tonight. Happy Saturday Eve, all. I enjoying this conversation, Rita, because sorry, Diva, because we all see exactly what's going on here. This, and first of all, I'm tired of the media narrative of them saying this former Kentucky college student, cheerleader, captain of the stunt squad. No, this is a college dropout, now turned murderer and adult, because she's not a teenager kid. This, she's full blown 21, 22, and knew exactly what she was doing, and that she had choices that besides doing what she did. I can't stand the narrative of them saying, you know, leave your baby in a safe place. You know, there's many families that want to adopt, and because that brings the whole adoption process into play. And if that was the case, we wouldn't have the highest number of children in foster care on the globe. So if they really wanted a child, they would go to these foster care homes and save babies there. So I hate when the news brings that up. Um, and ever since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which eliminated completely the federal constitutional rights to individuals having ABs and determining their own ABs, they left it up to the states. And now there's 14 states that have completely banned ABs, causing folks to have to travel into other these states that have continued to have AB as legal, or their restrictions are not as severe as some states that have completely banned, Kentucky being one of them. So, but I know her being in college, if she even went to college, even went to classes, she would have known that, and a simple Google search would have told you drive across the border to one of the states nearby and handle your business, or leave the baby in a safe house if needed. I agree. She needs to get at least about 10 years for doing what she did, because I don't believe that crap of her laying on top of the baby and the baby um, passing out, or she heard that baby whimper. She absolutely heard that baby whimper because she cleaned everything up, took a shower, went to McDonald's, got something to eat, and then came back. And it was only found out because others told on her. Because I don't think she would have said anything if the roommates or whoever found the baby in the closet would have reported it. So miss me with the BS. I think this chick is full of those white woman tears, and thinking she can get away with it and claim mental health. And this is absolutely not mental health. She didn't want a disruption in her privileged life and what she had going on. And I think they really do need to make an example out of her. But I don't see that much happening. I think 10 years is probably what she's going to get.
I don't think she's going to do any time, because
I don't either.
another clipping I saw, the other clipping that I saw was saying how since she was still doing all these stunts, we're sure the baby was born stillbirth and all this other stuff. How was the baby born stillbirth when the woman herself clearly said that, you know, she heard the baby whimper? No, you heard that baby cry, and so did your roommates. And then on top of that, I think she definitely was conflicted in her head. Whether we want to use the word conflicted, sick, because at first she was taking pictures of herself giving birth. She was taking pictures of herself giving birth. And then when she decided to conceal this baby, I don't know if she snapped and smothered the baby, but when she decided that this wasn't going to be, she went to deleting the pictures. Psychotic. Callie, your thoughts?
Either she's psycho, or this could have been another thought. Maybe her plan was to leave the baby in a safe box, but the baby passed away before she could do that. Now, when this thing first happened, my first question was, did these other girls help her? And everybody was like, no, they didn't like her, this, and that. I said, I just don't understand how they were around her like this and they didn't know she was pregnant. Something ain't adding up here. So I think that there's several people that I think everybody in that house is being covered for. I think that they helped this girl conceal this pregnancy. I think that they helped her give birth to this baby. Somehow the baby did not make it because she wasn't in a real hospital, didn't have a midwife, and wasn't getting no medical treatment while she was pregnant. And like I said, it is possible. Maybe she's not as crazy as we think. Maybe it was her plan to leave the baby at a safe house, but the baby didn't make it. And once the baby didn't make it and she hadn't gone to the hospital, she had never told anybody she was pregnant, she had never had any prenatal care, she was like, okay, what do I do now? It's very possible that that's what happened. Now, all of this stuff about her being a kid and the parents, this is a grown woman. That kid stuff been gone. You knew how to get on the internet and figure out where you could go if you did not want to go through with this pregnancy. There's even programs that will help you get a plane or a bus ticket to travel, or you could have, tried to figure out something to get the money to travel. I feel like the whole Roe v. Wade thing being overturned is just another way for people to come up with excuses because it's not illegal everywhere. And even if it was, we're not that far away from Mexico. And it will never be illegal in Mexico because of the way that their laws work. They don't have states. So once it was made illegal, it was legal, and that was just that. So this is the thing. Either she's that crazy, or she had a plan to give this baby away without her parents knowing, and the baby didn't make it because she wasn't taking care of herself. And then she just, after the baby passed away, she just panicked and didn't know what to do.
Thank you, Callie. I appreciate you.
I'm sorry.
Hold on one second. But I'm calling BS on the whole story from her because of the simple fact that she know when she passed out on the baby. So my thing is, if you had this baby and it was no ill intention, why not call 911? If you had this baby, was having this baby, no ill intention, why not tell your roommates, yo, call 911. I'm in this room having this baby and I need help. Like, I forgot who mentioned it on the panel now. Who helped clean up that blood? Because yes, I do remember when that teenager went in that bathroom in the hospital, had that baby, they said blood was everywhere. Everywhere. Savannah, what did you want to say?
I agree, Diva. Also, I want to call BS on the coroner. Are they going to do a second autopsy report? Because I'm not accepting that it was inconclusive. How are they not going to know whether there was air in that baby's lungs at all?
Because they're full of crap and they already know. And listen, they really already know because you can't have a whimper and you dead. It ain't possible. And so the mother said already, the baby boy whimpered. It was moving. And I bet you them deleted pictures, they show more than what they trying to tell. But I'm telling you, they just trying to cover this thing up for this girl. But it's going to come down to and then you know what, whoever else said it too, they probably covering up for that whole household. I'm not rolling with you thought she was sick. You heard noises. You wait till y'all all wake up and she wakes up and leaving and she says she's sick and about to go to the doctor. Y'all not that close to her, but y'all roommates with her to say you was that sick. You don't want us to walk you to the doctor or come with you to the doctor, to the campus doctor. Instead, y'all, when she leave, y'all go in her room. Y'all find the baby and y'all call 911. I mean, I'm calling BS on the whole nonsense. It's all lies. It's all lies. And we thought she was pregnant. So if you thought she was pregnant, one of the roommates told the cops, I thought she was hiding her pregnancy. So you think she hiding her pregnancy. Y'all hear this noise. You don't say, I be like, yo, in my opinion, I thought she was pregnant. You hearing all that noise now? She probably in there having a baby. And y'all just going to go back to sleep? It's the nonsense for me. No, I'm not that slow or that stupid.
Well, Diva, here's the thing. Even if you didn't know you was pregnant and you was giving birth, the most common people would call 911 because you'd be scared at this point.
Right. No,
You'd be scared.
she never claimed that she didn't know she was pregnant. I'm talking about the roommate said they thought she was hiding a pregnancy. So you thought she was hiding a pregnancy. Now you hear all this noise. You don't think that she might be in there having that baby? Sure, you knew she had the baby or was giving birth to the baby and probably did something to the baby. That's why as soon as she left, you went in that room to see if you can find said baby. And you did. The roommates are full of crap too, but everybody's trying to. This is CYA right now. This is a big CYA. So let's roll into this last story. Vivica Fox. Vivica Fox in her 60s out here playing straight up games. And she needs to give these people back their money. So filmmakers sue Vivica A. Fox, claims she never showed for a lead role. A Big Apple-based production company claims Independence Day and Kill Bill actress Vivica A. Fox accepted tens of thousands to star in the 2024 movie, but never actually made it to the film set. Brand New Entertainment estimates in a recent legal filing it lost more than $75,000 since Fox 61 backed out of filming for the return of Amatara Jackson, a planned reboot of the 2008 Nigerian Yoruba drama that starred Bucky Wright, a woman who murders her best friend is still her lover. The lawsuit was filed this week in Manhattan federal court and alleges breach of contract and unjust enrichment. It also names Fox longtime agent and manager Sheila Leggett, 63. Leggett signed a contract with Brand New Entertainment on September 6, 2024, securing Fox for the lead the suit contends. Filming was set for Nigeria. The car spokeswoman accepted an initial $25,000 payment through Leggett. Fox was due to receive another $25,000 upon arriving on set, with an additional $25,000 payable upon completion of the film. The contract also called for Leggett to receive a $7,500 agent fee. The suit alleges Fox was a no-show even after Brand New Entertainment accommodated her request to move the filming to America. A total of $250,000 was raised by investors, according to the lawsuit, which further claims Fox and Leggett have categorically refused to return the $32,500. Fox exit from the project also caused the company reputational harm and lost business opportunities, all exceeding $75,000 in aggregate. They are asking for the return of the $32,500 in unspecified punitive damages. Leggett and the publishers for Fox did not respond to requests for a comment on the suit. Vivica, shame on you. Shame on you. Katrina?
Yes, Diva. Frankie need to know this is not set it off again. Pay them folks back their money or do your job. Or I hope you didn't get it to revise your botch BBL. This is so sick. Or maybe you're doing too many car share commercials, or maybe you're on Lifetime again. Give these people their money or do the job. These people don't understand when you start stealing from people, these people they're not gonna trust the next person to come along. And you setting a bad example knowing that you this type of star. But you took the money, you told the folks you weren't going to Nigeria, the folks accommodated you again, and you still let them down. This is sad. Them folks do whatever they find her, they need to find her and make sure she paid them all their money back and her little agent, whoever he is, as well. Because this is so sad. This is just ridiculous and sad on so many levels. Like, Vivica, did your BBL go to your head? This is crazy. I hope these people get their money back, or either she do her job. Because these folks tried to accommodate her, and she didn't do anything to accommodate them. She put them in the corner whatsoever. That's ridiculous. But that's all I got, Diva.
Rita?
Yeah. I think Vivica thinks that movie is beneath her. Yeah. Because remember, she said when the Nene Leakes thing came up and they asked her about her stint in Hollywood, and she was like, I'm good. So, yeah, I think she thinks this is beneath her. And I mean, 30. What is 32,000 to Vivica? She might as well. This is making her look bad. I mean, the facelift looks bad. Her rear end looks bad. But pay people back their money. And yeah, I really think she thinks this is beneath her. And why would you have her move it from Nigeria all the way to here if you weren't going to do it? So, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, thank you. That part. That was just dirty. If you knew you wasn't gonna do it anyway, why you had this woman move her thing? And I'm sure she collected this money, invested money, based upon having Vivica Fox as the lead role. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Listen here. Vivica Fox rubbed me the wrong way when Taraji was sitting up here talking about how they wasn't getting paid, and she was like, "I'm good. I'm getting paid my money." We see how you getting paid your money. You getting money up on the front end, and you ain't doing your role on the back end.
Oh my!
And now somebody finally holding you accountable. We see why you was good. Okay, we see why your fight wasn't the same. I think it's a sad case. I want them to win this lawsuit. I want them to sue them for the time that they had to miss out on filming, the money from moving it from Africa to here, the money they gave her, and then for some pain and suffering on top of it.
Thank you, in my opinion. Julius, your thoughts?
Vivica, this ain't your heyday no more. Yeah, you may have said you good when Taraji B. Henson was bringing awareness to the pay inequality. Okay? But you are not beyond reproach. Let me say that again. You are not beyond reproach. Pay that person her money if you so, as I quote your words, I'm good. That's it.
Thank you. 48.
Yeah, Miss Vivica knows she wrong for that. She got other ventures that she has. She know that she should pay those people that money back, but more importantly, she knows she should have did that role. She wrong for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, 48. Savannah?
Didn't Vivica and Ice-T do some commercials with like car insurance,
Car Shield.
It's Car Shield. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I knew it was something. So I mean, you can't get any. She might as well go over with Shaq and do commercials for the general as well. I mean, that's also. I always thought that was beneath her. And as far as I know about Vivica, she's been having some money issues for a while now. So she really shouldn't. She's not that celebrity, that actress that she used to be, in my opinion. And she has completely mutilated her body. So I think Vivica has some. She needs to spend some time on a couch speaking to someone. I honestly do, because I don't think she's ever gotten over that relationship with 50 that she constantly is bringing up. And then what she's doing to her body is also that, to me, it resembles a lot of how Little Kim has mutilated her body. So I think there's some issues there that Vivica really needs to work on. But as far as now, yeah, she owes these people the money. If they sue her, they definitely deserve their money back and more. Because they were banking on her to come and do that. And I've seen her. Wasn't Katrina? Wasn't she in like Sharknado or something? I remember her doing a shark movie too during Shark Week. I mean, Vivica's been trying to get it in as much as she can on the B side. So she should have did this movie. She probably needs it. I think she has some money issues.
Thank you, Savannah. Callie, your thoughts?
Unless she signed some kind of weird unorthodox deal, which I doubt because she's union with these car show people, Vivica Fox should have a lot of money. Commercials pay a lot of residuals, and they show those commercials a lot. So I don't know if they just sued her and they never for the money back because they were mad because she tried to back out of the role. But she needs to give these people their money back, and she needs to apologize to these people publicly. Whether if she had a scheduling conflict or something else came up, she needs to come up with something, and she needs to give these people their money. This is not right to do to people. She's been in the business too long to be treating people like that. She's tried to produce things. Imagine if someone did this to her. How would she feel? Vivica Fox is another person where I think the elevator don't go all the way up to the top. I agree with y'all. Why would any woman who is an actress want to have unnatural looking plastic surgery? Every woman who has ever done that has ruined their careers. Every single last one. This is why a lot of the Instagram models and the influencers cannot transition into acting, because what role can they disappear into with a giant BBL and a nose that looks like no one's nose on the face of this planet?
Right.
There's nobody that's like a real serious actress that has really unrealistic looking plastic surgery. Nobody. That's how I knew Nene was never gonna have an acting career, when she started getting too far with the surgery. But yeah, and she know better than this. She been in business 30 some years. You don't.
Right. I do feel like, okay, because what when you sign up for these small production company movies, you already know the budget is not going to be that big. So I think initially, when it came to the $75,000 that she was going to get for the role, and it being in Nigeria, she was just like, she probably thought in the aftermath, oh, by the time I pay, go to Nigeria, I'm losing out. So she asked them to move it to America. They did. And for her to still stiff them after that is dreadful. This is shameful for Vivica Fox. And you know what, Callie, you made a point that I didn't really think about. After a while, that plastic surgery has gone too far. And how many roles can you really play when you got this unnatural kind of plastic looking look, right? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm now, that's going to be in the back of my head with these different people and these procedures that they are getting. I think it's just dreadful. Listen, guys, I'm gonna stay connected with this Laken Snelling. I really think that they are trying to make it so that they're going to act as if this baby was born not alive, and then her charges are only going to be like concealing or whatever they said of doing to the body after the body is already deceased and all of that. I think they're going to do that, but they're going to set a precedent, and the precedent they're going to set, I'm a roll into that David case, because then if they come out and say this girl perhaps had an overdose and then they try to conceal the body, then it needs to be the same treatment with that. And that's another story that I'm staying connected to, because it's just so convoluted. And now I think with this Laken story, they're trying to make it convoluted, but I think it's a little more cleaner than they're trying to make it. And I have never seen a coroner take this long, because they can tell very easily if air came into the lungs of the baby after the baby was already born. They can tell. So this is a very sad story. This coach, I think he's going to do some time. You putting your hand on the kids, and I think perhaps he needs to do some time, because when you work with kids and you don't have no emotional self-control, one, you no longer need to work with the kids. But when you think you're going to put your hands on my kids, then I'm going to need you to get arrested in charge and do some time. And Vivica, do better. You in your 60s, girl. This is not a good look. And whether, I don't know how much she getting from the commercials. Vivica Fox out of her own mouth says she was good. So if you good, Vivica, then I'm gonna need you to make good and pay these people back their money. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here on a Saturday night. Y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. And also, I want to say that Potomac, is coming on next Sunday. So Royer and I will be back with our reviews. We're reviewing Potomac. We're reviewing the Braxtons. We're going to be reviewing the reality shows. And it seemed like the Braxtons, they're going to be into some mess this season. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like button. See y'all tomorrow night. Choo choo.
Choo choo choo.